SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Y'all sports with Cliff Furr. Wednesday morning, turn that dial, let it burn. From Brookhaven down through the back roads, every small town star gets a turn. Y'all sports with Cliff Furr. Can you feel it? Southwest Mississippi proud. Presented by Bank of Brookhaven and Toyota Brookhaven Loud.
Your team, your town, your source, that's Y'all Sports, and this is Y'all Sports Radio. I'm Cliff Furr, the Y'all and Y'all Sports, and I'm joined by my friend and co-host, Brandon Shamatara. I should also say I've had a sinus infection today, folks, and I can kind of hear it in my voice. Y'all Sports is presented by Bank of Brookhaven and Toyota of Brookhaven, with additional support from Brandon Shamatara, State Farm Insurance, Sam Ballard with Good Hope Land and Timber, and Juan Seed Store, and we can't thank those partners enough for their belief in Y'all Sports. If you're keeping up, this is episode 5 of Y'all Sports Radio. Last week, we had Boca Chittle legend and LSU Hall of Famer Cornelia Gayton on the show. I had multiple people reach out to me and say, Cliff, I wish y'all had another hour with Cornelia. She's truly been a trailblazer in the game of women's basketball, and I agree. I could have listened to her talk about her journey from number 1 high school player in the state to playing pro ball overseas. It was so awesome to hear. Brandon, I made a reel on our Facebook page of Y'all Sports. You can find us by searching Y'all Sports on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. It was some highlights from Cornelia at her time at Boca Chittle. I know you saw it. I mean, how awesome was she? I mean, I love the clip where she gets a rebound. There were a couple of them. She gets a rebound, dribble the ball down the court at Mach 4 against a really good South Pike team. I feel like we need more tape of Cornelia online for the kids to see just how awesome she was.
You know, equally impressive, Cliff, is just the type of woman that she is, the type of leader and ambassador she is for her community and for the game of basketball. Just outstanding. Yeah, I'm like you. I wish that we had more than just that 1 hour that we had. I mean, I would love to sit here and go, 3 hours with her, because you got to think about the amount of stories that someone has going to play sports overseas, and then what it means to be an All-American at LSU. Forget, who cares that it's women's basketball. I mean, it could be any sport. If you're All-American, you're special. And so I would have loved to spend more time with her. Good thing is my kids are signed up for her training academy, Rain in Threes hoop school. And so I get to spend a little bit of time with her. Kids are loving it. And so just like every other kid that's ever been a part of the school, she just does a wonderful job, and the kids enjoy it and they get better.
Yeah, we put a picture of her on of you and I with her afterwards, and so many of those comments were best of the best, the GOAT. There was so much love from the folks that actually had their kids in the training school with her as well. So it just, beloved for a reason. Look, on Y'all Sports Radio thus far in our first 4 episodes, we've talked football, we've talked baseball, we've talked softball, and we talked basketball. And when you're checking the boxes on popularity of spring sports in Southwest Mississippi, I don't think everybody really realizes how popular track and field are, especially at places where the sport is taken most serious. The Brookhaven High girls track team, they've won 4 straight state championships. The boys also won last year. I think that was their second in about a 4-year period. It's a beloved sport here in Brookhaven. And we didn't do much track and field when I was growing up at Brookhaven Academy. In fact, Brandon, once I got to school my senior year, and Miss Rhonda Rayburn was the Bible teacher at that time. You know Rhonda from the T-shirt game. I'm sure most folks around here do. And Miss Rhonda, she was a Bible teacher, and she had a bus out front, and they said, hey, everybody who wants to go to the district track meet, get on the bus. And all my friends were running to the locker room. They were grabbing shorts, basketball practice shorts. They were like, we're going. There's a whole day out of school. We're going to the track meet. I had a job. I worked at the Brookhaven Recreation Department. I said, where is it? They said, Prentice. I said, what time will we be back? They said, we have no idea. Track meets, if you don't know, they last all night long. They said, we have no idea. We're just going. And I said, I can't go. I can't go. I kid you not. I think in most school buses, they have about room for about 25, 26 kids on them. This bus was loaded up with every bit of 45 Brookhaven Academy kids. They go over there. One of my buddies, he ran the mile. I don't know if he'd ever ran a mile before. He was he was majoring in doing as little work as possible at school. He runs the mile. He runs the first lap as fast as he can, and they're screaming, "Slow down, slow down!" And he couldn't even finish the whole mile. But Stacy Sandifer, Stacy Bonds. Now I do remember she went. She had never thrown a shot put before, and she threw it further than anybody in the state had thrown one thus far. Strong country girl from out there around the Hikes Retreat and Fair River area. So, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of track and field experience. Did you guys do track and field at North Delta Academy?
Yeah, so my high school story is this. I threw the shot put, I threw the disc, very little training, but just because I was strong, and I'm not pulling my own chain here, but I competed, and ribboned a couple of times, I guess. But you knew the ones that took it serious. Yeah. Oh, man, the shot put throwers, they would have all these wraps and tape on them and the baby powder and all that. And I'm like, hey, put some of that on my hand. It's hot out here.
Let me borrow a little bit of that Gold Bond, boy.
And so, like most kids, it's an opportunity to get out of school is the way I looked at it. Yeah. But then you fast forward, and when I was coaching high school football, I was also voluntold to be the track coach. Well, because I don't do things half-hearted, I actually put a lot of time in and tried to figure out the point system and how we could be most successful, how to coach this athlete or that athlete, the triple jump. I couldn't show them, but I could at least demonstrate verbally.
That's something I'm really excited to talk to our guest about. I'll intro him here in a second, but what you're saying there, because I've had some friends get into coaching track, and there's a lot of like gamesmanship with track with the point system, and it's like I worked at Terry High for 5 years. They love track there, and they were like, if we can just get a kid who can pole vault over 6 feet, we're going to get blah 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 points, and if we can get 2, and there's a lot of gamesmanship that goes on with track. Oh man,
I was coined by a parent. You get called a lot of things as a coach by parents, but one that I'll take with me the rest of my life, she said I was the best track coach that we ever had. And I was like, the amount of effort that I put into this, and you said that, I'm taking it. So, But anyway, no state titles or anything like that. But it's fun to, because some kids, they're just not physical, and that's okay. God didn't make them that way, but they're fast, and they can jump, and so there's an avenue for track and field, and it's just one of those things where if a kid will take it serious, they can have a lot of fun with it and excel, and maybe have an opportunity to play at the next level.
Well, I love that it offers so many opportunities for so many athletes to compete in so many different events. And when I think about the great programs in Southwest Mississippi for track and field, I think about the Macomb Tigers. And our guest today is the architect of that championship tradition. He would say he's one of the architects. His name's Coach Mark Lang. Coach Lang is a guy that I've always heard spoken about with great love and admiration by former students and athletes. They talk about him as a life changer, a father figure, a mentor, an inspiration, a grandfatherly love that these former athletes have for him. He's also a throwback to a time when I think some of our best coaches were also our best teachers. This is a guy who's taught biology and chemistry and all these lab sciences, and he's done it with a passion. He's actually retired now, but he's still teaching part-time down in Macomb. And when I talk about great coaches in this area, a guy like Bobby Lee at Lawrence County, who won a couple state championships coaching basketball over there, I always heard people say, hey, just as good as he was as a basketball coach, he was that good as a math teacher. Do you have any coaches in your memory that were really good teachers like that, Brandon?
Man, yeah, just, if I started naming them, I would leave somebody off. But these things, they go hand in hand, Cliff. If you take what you do in your profession as a coach and you want to be great at it, it's not a switch that you flip on and off. That's just who you are. And so you're not going to be the person that just says, hey, y'all get out your notebooks. This is study hall today. No, they're going to teach their subject, and they're going to do it at a high level. These are high-performing people at the end of the day, and gifted high-performing people.
That's what I think. I've known some coaches that were bad teachers. I didn't think they were nearly as good at coaches because they were, like you said, get your notes out. But the greats, the high levels, they want to be great at everything. Yeah. And so that's something.
Reputation, man, and that's what drives so many people. their reputation. They want to be great, not at just one thing, because you drop the ball in the other area, well, then that diminishes the value that you have in the other category. And so
I couldn't agree with you more. I can't wait to hear Coach Lang talk about that, talk about his career, his outlook on life. Sometimes you can just tell there's a great story to be told, and I think we've got one here coming up with Coach Mark Lang on Y'all Sports Radio. A great local success story around here is that of Bank of Brookhaven, one of our presenting sponsors of Y'all Sports Radio. For over 25 years now, Bank of Brookhaven has been serving the people of Brookhaven, Lincoln County, and Southwest Mississippi. Come experience the difference. And when we say at Bank of Brookhaven, it's all about you. Come experience what exactly that means. We'll be back with Mark Lang on Y'all Sports Radio coming up next.
Looking for the perfect, unique gift? Visit Juan's Seed Store at 636 Greenview Trail in Brookhaven. Discover our stunning waxed amaryllis bulbs. Simply place and watch them grow. Soy lotion candles from Waveland Candle Company provide an eco-friendly clean burn and provide a moisturizing scented lotion when burning. Sippy Scents out of Pearl has created the most intense fragrances for detergents, cleaners, room sprays, and oils. Shop these selections and more today at Juan's Seed Store.
Trust the experts at Good Hope Land and Timber, your full-service land and timber company with years of experience in forestry and land management. From land and timber purchasing, timber management, plantation thinning, and development harvesting, our team handles it all. Our experienced logging force is trained to the highest standards under the Sustainable Forestry Initiative and best management practices. Call Sam Ballard today at 601-669-5999. Good Hope Land and Timber, locally trusted, landowner approved.
All right, we're back on Y'all Sports Radio, and joining us in studio is Mark Lang, a longtime coach and educator, mainly in the Macomb School District. Coach Lang, thank you so much for joining us today. I didn't go to Brookhaven High, Coach, but my first full-time job as a teacher and a coach was there, and that's when I first started to hear and learn about Macomb High track and field and the dynasty that you guys created down there. Take me back to when you were first hired at Macomb, and let's start our story there, Coach.
Okay. I was hired at Macomb in 1977. I graduated at USM and didn't even consider going anywhere else because Macomb was one of the top schools in the state. And they hired me. I did my student teaching there, and they hired me at the junior high. For the first 4 years, I didn't coach, but I was running. And the AD, Chet Berkolowski, who just passed, asked me if I wanted to coach track. And I never even thought about it because I'd never seen a track meet before.
That would keep you from wanting to coach it.
Well, he convinced me to come on and help with junior high track and football, and I did that for years and enjoyed the teaching. And eventually, I was hanging around all these track meets, and I drove the bus to all the high school meets, and never even considered being a high school coach. I enjoyed the junior high because everything they learned, you taught them. So it was very enjoyable to go to the track meet and know that everything going on, discus, shot put, everything is what you taught them. And it didn't come naturally, really. But at that time, we had about 5 outstanding older coaches. Coach Floyd from Mid-County, of course, he always had a good program. Wardy Hicks at Wilkinson County, Leon McGee. These guys were a lot older than me. I was just a 20-something. Anyway, I listened, and I learned, and I just listened and learned, and I learned a lot, and I helped my junior high kids become pretty good. And I coached junior high for years, and I always kept hiring after Bob Kelly, who was the AD when I got hired. Not the AD, head track coach. He left, and he assumed I would be the next coach, but they hired some football coaches to give another supplement. For years, and I wasn't disappointed because I liked junior high. Because, like I said, it's very enjoyable knowing you taught everything they know. But Bob left, and they kept hiring other coaches. And in 1996 or 7, I guess, they didn't have anybody else to give the job to.
Yeah.
So
you've been there 20 years in the district by this point.
Yeah, and they hired me as a head coach. And 98, Macomb won their first state championship because I'd coached all these kids.
That's right.
They'd run through a wall for me.
Yeah.
I'd coached them all. The boys won the first state championship in 98. And the girls got better and better. We wound up winning the early 2000s. And I think all total I have 5 state track titles.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I love what you were saying there, Coach, about you're learning from the other coaches in the area, because track and field feels like something in Southwest Mississippi that we really love. We love it here more than other places, right?
There was always a lot of talent between Tylertown and the Mississippi River.
Yeah.
We always had the top kids. We could run with anybody.
Yeah.
Tylertown, Amite County, Natchez. Of course, you have these coaches that have been there for years.
Yeah.
That's the key to doing this, is to be there. And after I finally got the head coaching job, those kids just, like I said, they'd run through a wall for you.
Well, and you were saying, though, you learned from those other coaches. I just think that's awesome, because at that time, right, you're coaching, let's say you're coaching junior high track in 1982. You're not getting on YouTube and learning how to do the triple jump.
No.
You're going to other coaches saying, hey, teach me the steps.
I didn't even ask that. I just stood around and listened. And you learn a lot of tips from these old guys, and high jump. And that's all I did when I went to Louisiana. I went to Louisiana after I retired in 2013. And all I did was long jump, triple jump, and high jump. And
you're a jump guy. That's your specialty.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I did 5 years as assistant coach at Colin for Gwen Young, and we would use track a lot of times as an indicator of athleticism. Like, there's a girl at Hazelhurst we liked, and he would say, well, she won the 3A hurdles, and if she's good enough to win the 3A hurdles in Mississippi, she's a pretty dang good athlete. Right. We can make her into a better basketball player if need be. But you also coached football. I know Randy Spring told me you were one of his junior high football coaches.
Yeah, I coached junior high football for years, and of course, being a junior high coach, you had to go to all the high school practices and all the meets and stuff, meetings and stuff, and on Sundays, and so you learn a lot there too.
Yeah,
but, we had a good crew back in the ones that won the '84 state championship, first state championship Macomb would ever won in football.
Yeah.
I was there working with them, and it was a really good bunch. They'd been together for years, and that's how you do things, is you keep a
chemistry.
Yeah, and it feels like Macomb was known as a cradle of coaches at that time. I mean, I think about Coach Milton that coached later on, and just so many guys, like you said, that just spent time in the program investing in the kids, right?
Yeah, Ted was from Macomb and played baseball there, and he was a natural one to come in and do.
Yep.
But, yeah, they were all on that squad that won the '84 state championship, boy, football.
If somebody were to ask you, hey, what's the key to building a successful championship program in track and field, what would you say?
Begin in junior high and teach them the basics and let them see you. If you're a head coach, you need to be working with junior high kids as well. And that's kind of what we're doing now at Macomb. We've got the guy that I left my program with when I retired in 2013 is back. He's our AD and track coach. And he's going to build a good program back. He kind of went down after I retired in 2013, but he won, after I left, he won state championship 2 more times, I believe.
Wow.
Because he had the kids.
Yep.
So I left him a good squad, and he was stickler about training and stuff like that. So he was a good one to come in.
Yeah.
So
then he left, and it went down.
Yeah.
Speaking of kids, so no coach when we go back to your keys to success, no coach ever won a championship just by being a great coach. You had to have great athletes along the way.
We had talent. Southwest Mississippi, I always had talent, but I can remember some unbelievable races at Macomb between Tylertown, Natchez, and us. And when we get to the state meet, we'd win state with just sprinters because we didn't have money to buy a pole vault pit. So it was us, Oxford, and Pearl were the three that won 1, 2, or 3 every year for years.
Yeah. Tell me this: some of the greats that you coached or had the ability to see.
Well, I was going to say, every year I'd graduate somebody. Quentin Mullins was one of the first ones I had. He's now a doctor. And anyway, he was a great kid. But every time somebody like Quentin would graduate, they'd say, what are you going to do without him? The next year, somebody else would step up.
Yeah.
And we'd be the top sprinter in the state, you know. Marky Faust won state, I think, 3 or 4 years in a row in 100 and 200. And when he left, somebody else stepped in. Marvin Ashley, I think, stepped in.
Lamarvin, who's beloved here. Lamarvin, he's the guy that would run through a brick wall for Coach Lang.
Yeah.
And then you coach Coach Harrell's daughter, right? Did she run for you?
His niece. His cousin. His cousin.
Okay, yeah. I never knew
Brittany
that.
Harrell, she had a choice to go anywhere, but the LSU wanted her, but Florida offered her better.
Yeah, she went to Florida, and she's running.
Set some records, I think.
She's running sprints at Florida, and I mean, it's Coach. If you're running sprints in the SEC, that means you're among the fastest people walking the earth, right?
I think she was doing the heptathlon. I think may have set a new SEC record at one time in heptathlon because she was doing a lot of events.
Yeah.
Wow.
Her forte in high school was the hurdles. I've seen her fall in the state meet and win about 30 yards.
That's impressive.
Yeah. I can remember those times, and like you said, Natchez. You guys in Natchez and Tylertown, South Pike, and Brookhaven High. We were talking about before you got here that they just love. There's a real love of track and field at Brookhaven High right now, and it feels like as it builds year to year, it's exactly what you're talking about. When a girl who's a good sprinter graduates, they're already talking about the next group. I teach at the junior high at Alexander, and I know for a fact that those kids, when they're in junior high, they're talking about, hey, who's going to do this event when they get to the high school? It matters to them. Look, we're gonna keep going here in a second, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk a little bit more about teaching with Coach Lang and the impact that you make in the classroom. I was doing some research, though, before you came in, Coach, and I found out that you drove a Toyota 4Runner for many years, right? Somebody said that thing had no telling how many miles on it.
Probably 350.
350, and it's still kicking, right?
Well, I gave it to one of the kids I raised, and I don't know what happened to it.
Well, somebody said, hey, that 4Runner's dropped more athletes off than anybody in the history of.
And I had a Central before that, and it dropped a lot of kids off.
Well, I
took Quentin, not Quentin. I took Quentin home every day, but Marvin.
Yeah.
I took him out in the country. He lived out in the country. And went to Macomb.
I love that you were doing it in a 4Runner because we are sponsored by Toyota of Brookhaven, and no vehicle on the road holds its value like a Toyota. I was actually you drive one today?
I'm driving a Tundra now.
I was at Toyota this weekend getting an oil change on my wife's car. Brandon, there was this beautiful Land Cruiser there, okay? It had come in on a local trade, had 64,000 miles on it. It was about 4 years old, beautiful vehicle. And they were telling me they had sold it online to a guy out of California, and it's the Kelley Blue Book on it right now is worth more today than it was when it was new. There's no vehicle on the road that holds its value like a Toyota. Go see Prentice and the guys at Toyota Brookhaven and see the difference that they provide. We'll be back with more from Coach Mark Lang on Y'all Sports Radio. Don't go anywhere.
Exciting news, Brookhaven. Juan Seed Store has a fresh start under new ownership. Meet Guy and Paige Nelson, who are thrilled to welcome you to our fabulous new location at 636 Greenview Trail. At Juan Seed Store, we're not just about seeds. Discover a wide range of top-quality feed, seed, and everything you need for your outdoor adventures. Explore our expanded selection of gardening essentials, pet supplies, and outdoor gear. It's a whole new experience waiting for you. Juan Seed Store. More than just a seed store. Visit us today and see the difference at 636 Greenview Trail in Brookhaven.
Good Hope Land and Timber is a full-service land and timber company that offers years of experience in forestry and land management. Our services include timber and land purchasing, timber management, plantation thinning, and development harvesting. Our company has an experienced logging force that is trained according to the Sustainable Forestry Initiative and best management practices. Give Sam Ballard a call at 601-669-5999 for all your timber harvesting and land management needs.
All right, I'm Cliff Furr and the Y'all and Y'all Sports, and this is Y'all Sports Radio, and I'm joined as always by my buddy Brendan Shamatara. We've got longtime teacher and coach Mark Lang on the show with us today, and before we get back into it with Coach, I want to thank our partner Sam Ballard with Good Hope Land and Timber. You just heard Sam there on the commercial break. Sam is the man to call if you've got land or timber for sale, if you're looking to purchase land or timber, if you're looking for someone to manage your timber. As the son and grandson of a logger myself, I'm proud to have Sam involved with Y'all Sports Radio. Give him a call at 601-669-5999. Coach, we talked about your legacy as a coach and the track and field program that you helped build at Macomb High. And when I knew you were coming in, I posted your pic on Y'all Sports, and I asked for folks for their favorite memories of you. It haven't even been up 24 hours, and it's got close to 20,000 views on it. So many comments were, hey, I'm a teacher today, and he's the reason I do that. I truly believe that elite coaches, the best of the best, they always want to be just as good in the classroom as they are on the field coaching. Would you agree with that? Was it always important for you to kind of break those stereotypes of, oh, he's just a coach? You wanted people to know that, like, hey, you were passionate about teaching as well?
Yeah, I really was in pre-dental at USM, and about my third year, and I guess I decided I was going to teach because I had some really good teachers at Magnolia High School, middle school, and it was science, and I've always enjoyed science. I've been a biology person my entire life. Used to pick up snakes when I was 3 years old. But once I got it to Macomb, my first year was tough, but I really had top kids, and I really enjoyed them. And I taught everything at Macomb. They don't teach physics there anymore. I love physics and chemistry. That's what I've been teaching in Louisiana for years. And when I came back to Macomb, I was teaching chemistry and A&P. But, I had some really good teachers that kind of inspired me, I guess, to become a teacher, two lady teachers when I was my younger years.
So you went to school in Magnolia, you said?
I did. It was we became South Pike in my 10th grade year,
okay.
I think. Yeah. And we just integrated and became South Pike, I think, my 10th grade year, yeah. But once I got out of USM and started at Macomb, I really enjoyed the kids tremendously, and enjoyed the subjects I was teaching. And after I started coaching, I started bringing kids home with me. I mean, I've got probably 25 kids I took into my house with no help financially over the years. But most of them were just kids that maybe didn't have a place. That mom and dad both were in jail, and the judge said, "Can you take him?" I said, "Sure. Yeah, I know him. I coach him, and he's fine." But I wound up with a bunch of guys, and over the years, and I've had to bury 3 of them already, but I've been around for 48 years teaching.
Yeah.
That happens.
It does.
Yeah. But I enjoyed the teaching. Still do. Back when I came back to Macomb, they had me in the alternative school for that first year just because they needed somebody to teach science over there. And then they told me to come back and teach high school chemistry and physics. And I said, sure, I'll be glad to, because I can teach chemistry blindfolded. But
that kind of leads me into the second question I have for you in this set. Now, you set up perfectly.
Hold on, before you get into that one, I got to jump in here. Yeah. So you said you taught at the alternative school. All right, so we know the alternative school is for kids who make not the best decisions, right? And I just look at it like this, because you were so beloved and still are. When most people, coaches, whoever, when they go to the alternative school, it's like they got to cinch their belt and absolutely just lay down the fear in the classroom just to keep everybody in control. But something tells me, and you tell me if I'm wrong, Coach, but because of your reputation and all the men and even the young ladies who you had coached in the past, I would imagine that it was a different type of vibe for you when you went in there. It's like, hey. Yeah,
I knew a lot of their families if I hadn't taught or coached them. But I when I came back to Macomb, one girl came in class and said, "You taught my mama." I said, "Well, I taught your mama. I taught your grandma too." And that was the truth. Yeah, but as far as behavior and things, I would imagine that they walked the line with you. Yeah, just out of respect, not out of fear. Yeah, and a lot of the parents I taught or coached, and it does help. But having a coach to try to attach to your name also helps with those discipline and stuff too, I think.
Well, I was going to ask you, how many former students and athletes consider you a dad? I mean, at 25, is it 25 or?
I'll probably take it in 25 to 30. Judge Price, the youth court judge at the time, he sent me one in handcuffs one time, and to my door, my classroom door, and said, "Can you keep him till Monday?" I said, "Sure." I had state track meet that day, so he had to go to state track with me. Y'all took the handcuffs off.
Yeah, I had to get the handcuffs off.
But I could tell some stories. I'm sure that's one of them there. It's amazing.
So one thing that we talked about, especially last week, Cliff and I are big on this, but do you think that over the years, just because of a trend or whatever it may be, you think we're letting kids down as adults by not holding them to the same standards that maybe you were holding your players to many years ago? What have you seen in your life, Coach?
Oh, my gosh. The kids are still kids. Like I said, I'm teaching. I got the top 14 kids in the school probably in my chemistry class this semester, and the same thing last semester.
Yeah.
So, they know me. Their family knows me.
Sure.
And they're good kids. And you hear about what the eighth grader getting killed in Macomb the other day. But the kids at school behave around me anyway.
Yeah.
I know they get in fights and stuff, but I haven't seen a fight.
Well, I think it's a standard that you hold them to in your classroom and when they're around you. It's like what's acceptable and what's not acceptable.
Well, they know I enjoy it. I guess they can tell. As you saw all those comments, they all know I enjoy teaching.
I've made some connections in Macomb. This has been my first year really covering them. I've spent the last nearly a decade here in Brookhaven. As people know me from my time coaching, they also know that I'm like the local sports guy. And as I've gotten to know folks in Macomb, I've made a good friend down there, a lady everybody calls Mama Nisi, and we were watching a Macomb football practice once. And speaking about the little boy who lost his life this week, she was pointing out to the field as we were watching football practice, and she was going through all of the kids that have dealt with similar situations out there on that field, losing loved ones, losing friends, and things like that. And it just is that kind of a reason that you keep coming back, because these kids need adults that love them and can sympathize and empathize with them and let them know that, like, hey, I'm a teacher myself, and I tell my students all the time, I'm not your enemy. I'm your friend. I want to be your road marker on your successful journey through life.
Main thing is they know there's somebody there. I mean, back in the days when I was taking all these kids in, I went with, I think, 5 16-year-olds in the house and never had a minute's problem. I don't remember where we all slept. They knew that there was a safe place if they had to have one. The judge would send them to me if they needed a place to go. Sometimes. But it's mostly Macomb kids and athletes, and I could always deal with the athletes.
Sometimes stability is the main factor in a kid's life that could help them excel. Like if there are things unstable in their life, it's just that's the foundation is broken, and everything else is just going to be harder to accomplish.
That's why I think sports is. All kids need to be involved in something. And we got girls, we got flag football, girls football, and there's 20 sports, I guess, at Macomb now.
Sure.
There's something anybody can do. I'll tell kids all the time, if you want to come out of the track, we can find something you can do.
That's right.
I see them walking down the hall, and I saw a kid walking the hall one time. I said, boy, you need to come out for high jump. He finished third, I think, that year. High jump. Never had jump before.
Wow.
But they just need to see that there's somebody there.
Yeah.
A lot of times, just knowing there's somebody there may help. I don't know.
Sure.
But
and I love that. I love the whole idea of like recruiting the halls. What's a successful track practice? What does it need to look like in organization? Because I had this talk with Darian Dorsey, he just gave up coaching track at Brookhaven High as he took over the head football coach, and he said that I was asking him about building that championship program at Brookhaven High, and he said, well, one thing we had to let him know was we're going to run every day.
Well, the guys there now, I worked with him my last year at Macomb, and he took over when I left, and Coach Bo Gibson, he's AD. But he stretches for 35, 40 minutes. They get a workout just in their warm-ups and stretches and everything. And they're probably beginning to get tired by the end of warm-ups, but they're going to run. And the reason I've always been good in the long and triple, we always had somebody to stay meeting triple and long jump, was I'd stay there till dark if they'd stay with me.
Working on those, because one thing that I've found in covering track is, like, we had a kid here locally, Brody Ezel. He went on and he was like a 3-time state champion in shot put, and he also won one in discus as well, I believe. And he was telling me his 10th grade year, he had a guy from like South Jones who had absolutely smoked him at South State, and then he comes back at the state meet. He wins his first state championship. Outthrowing this guy 15, 20 feet. And I said, Brody, man, how did you do that? And he said, my coaches caught where I was dipping my head at a point that I needed to be coming up into my release. And he said, it absolutely changed. Isn't track something that it's so important to build repetition into your track practice, right?
Yeah. And like I said, triple jump is something I could go out there and teach a kid to triple jump that's never even seen the sport before. And it's just knowing a few little pointers to give them.
Yeah.
Lengthen this phase and, shorten that phase and all that. But high jump, same way. I can pick out something they're doing wrong. And that just comes from experience. And those old guys I used to listen to. Charlie Floyd is the only one I know that's still around doing anything with track, but Mid-County. But just listening to all those, like I said at the beginning, all those older guys,
yep.
And you pick up hints about what to do in a high jump if your heels hitting the bar, your calves hitting the bar, stuff like that.
Yep. Yep. So you never had any pole vaulters?
I have. One of them commented, in fact.
Yeah.
But we had a pit that became illegal.
Okay.
So we used that for a high jump pit after that.
Okay.
But
yeah,
we were with that pole vault for a long time, Macomb.
Yeah, Brandon, that's something I've never thought about doing is pole vaults, and I've also never thought about skydiving as well. Never in my life have I given those a thought, but it is something I enjoy watching, and I loved watching the Olympics and seeing that one of the greatest pole vaulters in the world is from Lafayette, Louisiana. He pole vaults for France, but awesome story there. We're talking about teachers and coaches and the role they play, the way they can be life changers. And my friend and co-host, Brandon Shamatara, he knows all about that from his time growing up and his time as a teacher and a coach himself. Brandon wants to apply those same principles, those same cares, and build those same type of relationships with his customers at Brandon Shamatara State Farm Insurance. It's more than business for Brandon and his team. It's about making you feel like family. Come see Brandon in his downtown office in Brookhaven for quotes on home, auto, or life insurance, and begin to let him earn your trust in business. We'll be back with one more segment talking to Coach Mark Lang here next on Y'all Sports Radio.
Rumors spreading round United Texas town about the shack outside the game.
Trust the experts at Good Hope Land and Timber, your full-service land and timber company with years of experience in forestry and land management. From land and timber purchasing, timber management, plantation thinning, and development harvesting, our team handles it all. Our experienced logging force is trained to the highest standards under the Sustainable Forestry Initiative and best management practices. Call Sam Ballard today at 601-669-5999. Good Hope Land and Timber, locally trusted, landowner approved.
Welcome to Juan Seed Store, your go-to spot for all your farming and agriculture needs right here in Brookhaven. Located at 636 Greenview Trail, we're much more than just a seed store. Need boots? We've got you covered with Durango, Rocky, Muddy, and Gator Wader brands. And if you're looking for style, rock and roll denim will keep you looking sharp while you work. We also carry durable key overalls and workwear. Shop with us Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Juan Seed Store, where we're so much more than just a seed store.
We're back on Y'all Sports Radio. I'm Cliff Furr, and if you're ever looking for Y'all Sports, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok by searching Y'all Sports. This episode of Y'all Sports Radio will be available for download later this week. You can find it on your iPhone's podcast deck or on YouTube or even on Amazon Music. I hope all the former Macomb Tigers and Jules Sumner Cowboys and Cowgirls that know Coach Mark Lang will get on there and download and listen to this conversation if they couldn't here live on SuperTalk. That's all thanks to our friends at Juan Seed Store. Juan Seed Store has a new location on Highway 84 in Brookhaven. You literally can't miss it, and it is a sight to behold. Have you seen the forecast for this upcoming week? If you're someone who loves to be outside, then you need to go check out the new Juan Seed Store. Breaking news, folks, they have baby chickens there. I saw they posted that on social media, so just in time for Easter, go get your wife a chicken. She'll love it. We've got one more final segment here with legendary coach, Macomb High teacher and coach Mark Lang. Coach, I had you on my list of potential guests. When I wrote out my first list of potential guests, I wrote out 52 names, and you were on it. I ran into you at a Brookhaven High basketball game not long ago. You were there watching a grandchild of yours play for the North Pike Jaguars, and I introduced myself. We had a little quick chat. You told me something that I had not realized. you had a liver transplant not too long ago. Tell us the story of that, Coach.
Well, last year at Sumner, I had COVID first part of the year. I missed about a week of school, and I never got any better. I just thought it was long COVID.
No, was that 2020 or
20? I had the transplant in 23, I believe.
okay?
So about 22, I guess.
Okay.
Spring, the fall of 22. But I never got any better. And one day I kept swelling. I just was swollen. And my principal said, "You need to go to the doctor." And I went to the doctor that evening, and they did a few tests and said, "Your liver's shutting down." And it wasn't long COVID. But I came here to King's Daughters and got they drained the fluid off, of course, for make it more comfortable. And the first time I came up to King's Daughters, they drained like 10, 15 pounds of fluid off of me. Ooh. So I was really swollen, very uncomfortable. But like I was telling you guys, Blue Cross wasn't being accepted. That was our insurance.
Yeah, there was a little tiff going on. I remember
happened,
that. About rates.
Right. So I couldn't get in there. I put my name on the list at Ochsner and at UMMC, and finally got in there. She said, "Your blood type's perfect. You come in and get a liver when I call you." And she called about 2 weeks later, and I was up there with a new liver the next day.
Wow. I mean, like, you can't get an oil change at some places that pain-free. I mean, it was how you feel health-wise now, Coach?
Oh, all summer I get up at 5 o'clock and go walk the south. I live right by Southwest. I walk the campus.
Okay.
And 2 or 3 miles. So can't run anymore. Got neuropathy in the left leg. But I used to run a lot in road races and stuff. But I get up. I'm doing good, actually.
So new liver, reset. You got some aftermarket parts on you now. How much longer do you see yourself going and pouring into these kids and investing in these kids?
Right now, like I said, I've got 3 kids at the house I've got to take care of, and this salary helps feed them. But as long as I enjoy it, I'm going to keep coming back. And I have a hard time getting over to track practice. I've got to pick up my granddaughter and be there when the little one gets off the bus. So I have to work around I have to work my schedule around them to help out with the track again. But I'm still enjoying it, enjoying teaching. And they say if you ever get to where you don't enjoy it anymore, you need to get out.
Yeah.
You're going to be miserable in the classrooms. You're miserable with the kids, but they know I still enjoy it. We have a good time.
Well, and you said something earlier that just really resounded with me. Is you just enjoy being around the kids. And I've been an educator for almost 20 years. Brandon was an educator before he got into insurance. And when people ask me about the job, that's usually what I tell them. It's like, man, just like being around the kids. The kids, they make me feel younger. I'm in middle school right now, so there's always something I'm going to laugh at. I tell people all the time, I taught high school at Terry for 5 years. I had a young man once who passed gas in a 10th grade class. And for years after that, his classmates, if they saw him, they would say, "Hey, Marcus, remember that time you did that in Coach's class? Hey, 8th grader, they won't think twice about it, buddy. No. They won't think twice about it, and they won't carry much shame around with them." So their energy, I feel like, kind of feeds my energy. Is that kind of how you feel too?
Yeah. I started with 8th grade, so I know what you're talking about. There's nothing they have no shame.
Yeah.
But they keep you young. I've got juniors and seniors now mostly, but I enjoy it. You can't laugh. I'll get a good laugh every morning when one comes in and does something stupid,
Yeah.
You know how that is.
Yeah.
But, I enjoy it. They know I enjoy it.
So, Coach, I'm interested to know, where did your passion to help people come from? Because I can tell God's gifted you that way, bigger than athletics. But for someone to take in children into their home and to help and then to be the point person for the court system. I mean, that's incredible, Coach. Where does this come from?
I don't know. I really don't know. My parents, I guess. My dad coached Little League for years in Magnolia. And I guess from that, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
I had a real special mom. She only lived to be 51, lost her in a hunting accident, but she loved to do things for other people. And that's kind of, I had a friend who she kind of mentored, and that person said, "Hey," somebody asked him once, they said, "Hey, where'd you learn to do for others like you do?" And she said, "Well, I learned by watching Debbie Furr. I promise you this, there are a bunch of people in Pike County and in Louisiana who learned how to do from others by watching Mark Lang. And I know you're a humble man and you probably don't like this praise, but I'm telling you that when we look at our Facebook and we posted your picture and all the people who said, hey, that was my favorite teacher I ever had. I'm a teacher because of him. That man took care of me like I was his own. Coach, you're leaving a legacy, and those are the kind of stories we love to talk about on Y'all Sports. It has been a real honor for you to be here and to talk a little bit about it, track and field with us. And, we're just going to say, keep doing good, Coach. Keep doing good.
As long as I can. It was a 16-year-old liver, by the way, so I'm still young.
Oh, man. That's Mark Lang. He's been our guest this week on Y'all Sports Radio. We'll come back and wrap it up here in a second with Brandon and I. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back on Y'all Sports Radio.
Good Hope Land and Timber is a full-service land and timber company that offers years of experience in forestry and land management. Our services include timber and land purchasing, timber management, plantation thinning, and development harvesting. Our company has an experienced logging force that is trained according to the Sustainable Forestry Initiative and best management practices. Give Sam Ballard a call at 601-669-5999 for all your timber harvesting and land management needs.
Looking to gear up for turkey hunting season? Head over to Juan's Seed Store at 636 Greenview Trail in Brookhaven. Our spacious new store features a licensed gunsmith, Brian Wilson, ready to assist you. Explore our extensive selection of firearms. Don't miss our outdoor and hunting section, stocked with optics, chokes, and accessories. Grab your Windy Hill shells or choose from Remington, Migra, or Hornady. Plus, we have Swamp Boy turkey calls and everything else you need for a successful hunt. Come visit us and prepare for your best hunting season yet.
All right, we're back on Y'all Sports Radio. I'm Cliff Furr, and I'm joined by my friend and co-host Brandon Shamatara. And Brandon, I know you well beyond the parameters of this show. We are good friends. We go to church together, and I thought you would enjoy getting to meet a guy like Mark Lang. That's a special dude right there, right?
And just the humility in that man is just, I mean, it's unparalleled. Like he doesn't want any praise for anything he's ever done in his life, and that's the kind of man that I like to surround myself with, somebody who does things in the dark so that light can shine on others. And I just pulled that out of my behind, but that's who he is, right? So I tried to pull it out of him. You know, Coach, where did you get this? I know God gifted you, but where did you get this love to help people? And he said, well, my dad was a coach, and I guess that might be, but he, if I don't even think he could put the words together, because that's how much humility he has. I want to read one of the posts that a fellow commented under the Y'all Sports Facebook page. This guy says, Jeff Morris, shouts out to Jeff Morris. I don't know who you are, buddy, but this is a great comment, and I want to read it. You can have 1 million comments under this post about Coach, and I can say that I bet you not one person has anything bad to say about him. He is a great man that helped lots of people. Wow. Put that on my headstone, Cliff.
Man.
Like if people said that about me, my life would be fulfilled. Not the amount of money you can make, not the amount of trophies that you can achieve. Look, he helped people and just a good man.
And listen, let's
Or
just,
is still helping people.
yes,
Yeah.
and let's just be honest, okay? We live in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
We have the highest percentage of African-American residents
Mm-hmm.
than any state in the nation. And if you go and you look at that post about Mark Lang, it is folks of every color, race, and creed.
Yeah.
People in Macomb do not play about Mark Lang.
Male, female, race. Hey, love has no color or gender.
That's right.
It just doesn't.
And when you're in, and it just kind of goes back to what you're talking about, when your intentions are good, when you're not doing these good things for any type of fanfare for man, but you're doing them because you see needs and you meet needs. And let me tell you something, buddy. I've wanted to be the guy who brought a kid home that needed it. But I'd always say I could find 1 million excuses of why I couldn't. Well, I got this, or I don't have room, or this or that. It sounds like Mark Lang has repeatedly over his life, he has just trusted that God would provide. And I mean, he's just so like, he's like, yeah, I mean, we had like 6 kids. I don't know where they slept. I don't know. And I
don't know how we fed them all.
I don't know how. We never had any problems, man. You're right, Brandon. That's the kind of guy that I want to surround myself with, and that's the kind of guy that I want to try to be like.
A devotion to helping people, man. If that's not biblical, I don't know what is. Because, like I said, love has no color, and Coach is loving his neighbors, as Christ said.
Just beautiful, and the fact that he built this legacy on track and field is one that I just think it's so cool. The fact that, like I said earlier, track is something that we care about a great deal in Southwest Mississippi. It offers all kinds of opportunities for kids that might not do anything else. And he's talking about going out and recruiting kids out of the hall and being like, hey, you look like you might could triple jump. And the kid finishing like 3rd in state. If you get a chance coming up this in the next month or so, Brookhaven High will host track meets. They will host their inaugural. They always host like a kickoff, like a sprint. They call it like their speed trials. They host a big junior high meet that all the junior highs in the area come to, and then they host their Panther Invitational. If you can come and go to one of those track meets, I promise you are going to leave with your jaw hanging down at the amount of track and field talent that we have. And here at Brookhaven, like we'll find a kid that can pole vault so that we can get those points. That's part of the championship formula, right?
Yeah. And Coach Dorsey just so good at the point system, man. I've heard him speak on it and how well he pays attention to each category. I mean, hey, we may not be good at this, but we can get some points out of this.
That's right. We'll find somebody.
Those points add up. And hey, there's somebody in your hallway that could benefit from being part of a team. Somebody that can benefit from being coached under great coaches like Coach Dorsey and Coach Lang. I mean, look, it's so cool to hear these stories, man. I'm just blown away every week when we come together. And, Cornelia Gayton last week and then Coach this week. I'm like, man, golly, when is it going to run out? Well, you just keep doing your groundwork, Cliff, and I don't think it ever will.
Well, we're looking for inspiration, and we found some inspiration today with Coach Mark Lang, and we can't thank him enough for coming on and joining us. We also want to thank our sponsors, Bank of Brookhaven, Toyota Brookhaven, Sam Baller with Good Hope Land and Timber, Brandon Shamatara State Farm, and Juan Seed Store for their support of Y'all Sports Radio. I'm Cliff Furr. He's Brandon Shamatara, and we'll be back with another episode of Y'all Sports Radio next week. Until then, we'll see y'all on the sidelines of Southwest Mississippi.
SuperTalk Mississippi Media Production.